9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Guess who's back? What's up, y'all? Welcome to WWT Live, the Wednesday edition. My name is TK. We are going to be talking about news, all the latest stuff in AEW, WWE, etc. But if you're new here, let us know where you're coming from in the chat, whether it's a country, city, state, all that good stuff. And also, FYI, our super chats are enabled, so please continue to help to support the show financially if you can. We'll stop the show to shout you out. If it's $2 or more, really, really appreciate it. We want to definitely help Ced get to Florida for the shows. We definitely want to get Will's his subscriptions, all the stuff, maybe Honey some new glasses. All that stuff will be really appreciated in this super chats. Hey, Dylan. Speaking of glasses, the sweetest hoose, she's in the building. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Actually, it's so funny you mentioned that. I was thinking to myself, I do need a new pair of shades. I do need. But I actually got my shades because I saw that my WWT sister over there that's about to come in and join us had her shades on, and I was not prepared for the first time. I was not ready, but made sure I had them when you introduced me. What's
there
up?
It is.
Good to see you back.
Thank you. Yes, that is correct, Dylan. Help Ced get off the streets. That's where the super chats are really going to help him. And in order to do all that, we need the PR princess herself coming off of her AEW watch along. A lot of good things to talk about. Miss Courtney Rice is in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of AEW Dynamite is 100% freshly squeezed. If you know, you know.
Oh, wow. Someone's excited.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Freshly squeezed central.
I feel like we should just go right into it. Courtney, you just came off your AEW watch along. Give us the deets. What happened? I caught a bit of it at the end, but yeah, tell us what went down.
So give me 1 second because I'm gonna pull up the results. We actually kicked off with an AEW tag team title match. Brodino taking on the Gates of Agony after the Gates of Agony had a big win over the Hurt Syndicate this past week at AEW All Out in Toronto. It was definitely a good match to kick off with. Both teams definitely delivered. Obviously, we did see Ricochet do some commentary before he got banned from ringside. So it was a fun match overall, but the winners of the match was Brodino. And I was very happy to see them win. The question is, what's going to be next for them? So I'm very happy to see what they're going to do next. Also, up after that, we had the AEW World Heavyweight Champion Hangman Adam Page issuing an open challenge. That was answered by none other than Pittsburgh's own Ring of Honor Pure Champion Lee Moriarty. And this was a really hard-hitting match. And also Bryan Danielson, who's the newest commentator, he actually mentioned that this was Lee Moriarty's first opportunity at AEW World Heavyweight Championship Gold. So this was a really good match for both of them. And also it does give an opportunity for Hangman to at least do something with the younger stars on who he sees at the future. And I was really happy that Lee Moriarty was picked. But the winner of the match was still champion Hangman Adam Page. And then, of course, we did have a few backstage segments in between. We did hear from MJF after his loss against Mark Briscoe, and he is more vicious than ever. We did hear from FTR after what they did to a returning Beth Phoenix at AEW All Out in Toronto, giving her a pile drive. We did see Edge and Christian backstage, and Edge is going to take care of Beth. And we could tell him and Christian are still together. But of course, FTR came in along with Stokely and Willow Nightingale. And it surprisingly came out and mentioned about Beth Phoenix. And of course, she's not afraid of getting her hands dirty because we've seen it from the matches that she had between mixed tag match, intergender matches, and even Anarchy in the Arena. So after she tried to get in the face of Stokely, we saw Jet Speed come out and help them out. So it looks like there's going to be some storyline with them. as I mentioned, with MJF. And then after that, we had the conglomeration. We had the conglomeration with Mark Briscoe, Hologram, and a returning, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy back in the building, taking on the Don Callis family, Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, and Hechicero in a really energized trios match, which the conglomeration got a victory. We saw Kyle Fletcher put out the challenge to Hologram because next week is the 6-year anniversary of Dynamite. So it will be title versus streak.
Wow, 6.
So that's a match that's added. We also got to see Claudio Castagnoli taking on Powerhouse Hobbs, which was actually a grudge match. So them two came out. And obviously, of course, you did have shenanigans with the Death Riders. So that was something. And also, Tony Khan mentioned that AEW would introduce AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships, which has been pretty much the ongoing rumor that didn't end the last couple months, but here we are. And the main event, we had the ladies close out the show. Chris Statlander taking on Mina Shirokana for the AEW Women's World Championship match. This was something Chris Statlander wanted to prove she was a fighting champion. It was a good match between both ladies, but Chris Statlander picked up the victory. And I really thought, with all the members of the Death Riders coming out and with Chris Statlander, I thought she was going to join, and Harley Cameron came out. But unfortunately, everybody got tricked. Chris Statlander put a curl sign on Wheeler Yuta and gave the finger to the Death Riders, but there's a lot more to come. And we saw Darby Allin with a flamethrower in his hand, scaring everybody from the Death Riders, and challenged Jon Moxley to a I Quit match at Wrestle Dream in October next month. All that happened on AEW Dynamite. Outside of Kyle Fletcher versus Hologram, we're also going to see the return of Jurassic Express making their return next week after All Out in Toronto. I don't know what's going to happen with the former tag team champions. And we're also going to get Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir taking on, I would just say, next week, Darby Allin and Chris Statlander taking on Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir in a mixed tag team match. And we're also going to have a trios match next week with members of the Death Riders, Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, taking on Hangman Adam Page, Samoa Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs. And that pretty much wraps up AEW Dynamite tonight from Pittsburgh.
Damn. Let's get into the tag team announcement. Tag titles announcement. I think you've been campaigning for another belt. As far as tag teams are concerned, we're seeing how the women's tag team in particular with other promotions is kind of, not as fluid. Do you think it's going to be better with AEW?
With the fact they're creating tag teams, this will help. I'm really happy to see. I will say on the belt design, they could have done a lot better. They could have at least made it pink, or at least somewhere that it makes it like the women's division, or kind of took a design something similar to the AEW women's world title. So at least it's like, okay, this is the women's division, because I feel like it's kind of like you're making it a knockoff of the men's tag team belts, or at least do something to kind of differentiate a bit. I do think it is something that we'll be interested in seeing, because there is a lot of tag teams in that division. We do see Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Obviously, we see Chris Statlander, Harley Cameron. And Boza mentioned this too. Mina Shirokana will be facing off with formerly known as Kaden Carter at Ring of Honor. So it may be a possibility we could see Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, formerly known. We could see them pop up. And also, it does bring out an opportunity for some women's tag teams, because I've seen a few in Ring of Honor that could really use that shine on AEW. So it does bring a lot of opportunities to women's tag team. It's just going to be very interesting on how this is going to flow, especially with some of the storylines which are kind of interacting with each other.
What do you feel about it, honey?
I mean, I like it. I feel that it's good, but have we actually seen does AEW have a women's tag team division that's actually like a solid tag team unit, or is it just a bunch of women on the roster thrown together? Because I mean, if you're gonna create tag team titles, you need a tag team division to start with. You know, you
Right.
do need a lot of cohesiveness with tag teams. You can't just throw superstar. I mean, that's one thing that I've always had a pet peeve over with, whether it was
Same.
AEW, WWE, no matter where it was. If they could not differentiate what was what with that, it's just like, all right, guys, you can't put two separate, like there's certain cases where you have stars like Charlotte and Alexa, for instance. They've both been in, they're still in a prime of their own, but they've had that peak where they've done their share of their solo championship wins and things like that. So they're trying something different. They went in a different direction, and now they're a tag team, and that they're a force to be reckoned with, and that's why they're still champs. But even with that, you have to have also a tag team division. Like I said, you have to have cohesiveness, you have to have togetherness, you have to, you know, have the in-ring ability and the in-ring psychology to have that, you know, how do you say, the chemistry of
Right.
of, you know, being in a tag team. You know, think if you're going back to, you know, earlier, you're thinking, you know, Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, the Rockers, you know, even the freaking Bushwhackers, down to like Too Cool, down to Dudleys, down to Hardys. You know what I mean? Those are cohesive tag teams. I don't know if AEW necessarily has that yet. I'm not sure how they're gonna build it, but maybe this is how Tony Khan is coming up with his own way of creating that division by having the tag team titles in place. Now it's time to maybe acquire some other talent. As you know, as Courtney said, you could see, you know, there was a lot of movement going around between companies. A lot of people been let go here and there. A lot of people's contracts are up. You never know what can happen. But cool, Tony.
You brought a good point. Here's a question. So we have Charlotte and Alexa as the tag team champions. However, if we had more women's tag teams, like legitimate, and again, it's up to personal opinion. I definitely subscribe to what you're saying, honey. Is like, I want to know, I want to feel like these ladies in particular, as far as tag teams are concerned, is that they're on the road together. Like, it just seems like they're, you know, they get along, all the things. And often cases, sometimes it's just like, okay, they've thrown them together because they need a tag team. So going back to the question, do you think that Alexa and Charlotte would be champs if we had more women's tag teams?
You know, that's a good question. I do wonder about that in a lot of cases, because there's still a lot of women on the roster that you could have put together, but you know, it probably wouldn't have worked.
Because we know they're not going to be together for a long period of time.
No, absolutely not. I think it's just more so to up the ante for the rest of the division, in order to establish, you know, another prestige. You know, it's not the first time we've seen two solo superstars come together. You know, you've seen it with Bayley and Sasha. I mean, they did become a unit that, of course, and with their own connection, they did. You know, what was that? The hug. What was that? I forgot the name of that damn. It was like
Hugger Boss connection.
Yes, the Hugger Boss connection. I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, like in that kind of retrospect, you would expect that to happen. But I'm not sure if they would be tag champs. But it was interesting, and it was a surprise enough that they did it. And it maybe they both needed this kind of period in their careers, being that it's something that they never really did together. You know what I mean? In particular, Alexa and Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's something you never really thought you really never thought you'd see. But yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Louis, Bosa, Eric, Maria, and Courtney's favorite person said in the chat. So I just want to shout those guys out before we continue on. Also, make sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends about the show. We really, really, really appreciate it. As far as, because Courtney, you're our resident AEW person, who do you think will be the inaugural women's tag team champs?
This is really interesting because I'm looking at some of the tag teams. Well, some of the tag teams that were already formed and looking at socials. I'm going to go with 2. I would love to see Chris Statlander or Harley Cameron get the belts because they do seem like a good tag team. And also any combination from the Triangle of Madness that has Tekla, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. They have been very cohesive with each other since they started becoming a trio. And also with the fact, too, Tekla is still undefeated. She has not been pinned yet. And also it's a good opportunity for her to really get into the skin. And I wouldn't mind seeing like any one of them, because if you're going to continue building momentum, why not dominate the tag team division of AEW? So those are my 2 picks that I think would be good inaugurals.
Do you want to add to that, honey, or?
No, just wait and see. I'll wait and see what Tony has cooking in the kitchen. I'd rather be surprised. I'm not sure about any tag teams in particular that I could think of, unless they were ones that are distinct to remember as far as like a unit, a tag team. I haven't really seen that in AEW. So,
Speaking of what I haven't seen NXT, but we're gonna do a quick recap of what happened on NXT yesterday. So take it away.
Yeah.
So NXT was a wild ride. I mean, it was definitely a highly anticipated, kind of gave big fight feel vibes too, I would say. Even from beginning to end. But quick recap, we had lights out match with Miles Bourne and Lexis King, in which Miles Bourne came out on top and the victor. We also have Tavion Heights, who pretty much posed as Dr. Wagner Jr. with, I would say, another ruse of the century, and attacked Ethan Page and humiliated him. I think this next thing that I'm going to mention is definitely something that we need to address in particular. And that is this. I don't think in another lifetime, if you would have asked me if Lainey Reed was going to beat Mrs. Wrestling in NXT to punch her ticket to No Mercy, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I think that's a huge win, a very overlooked moment of the night. I was actually really surprised with this moment, but it was really interesting to see. Also, really quickly, other things we had going on. Of course, we have Mariah May and Jordan Grace, who have been, wrong way. Mariah May, excuse me, why am I saying Mariah May? Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace.
It didn't even dodge me. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot her. She changed her name. You're right.
Seriously, I know. It's just like, it just slipped off the tongue. But obviously their brawl out is getting more and more serious by the week. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty with No Mercy. We had Jordan Grace defeat Ariana Grace. Some would say they're in relation, still trying to figure that out somehow. Another great highlight, and I'm sure our mayor would definitely appreciate this, was Lola Vice, the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, knocking JC Jane on her ass, I must say, in a pretty nasty backhand, and proving that she is coming for that spot. She did give an excellent and very exceptional promo as well. She pretty much knocked her out cold. So I really enjoyed that, being that JC Jane's been kind of running her mouth quite a bit. Let's see. We also had, of course, this was the biggest highlight of the night. We had a TNA invasion, if you will, or some others would say former NXT alumni, kind of from years ago, invaded NXT now, which was quite interesting and quite fun. Of course, we had Oba and Trick Williams facing off for the winner take all, and of course, that didn't go down as planned. But Oba Femi and Ricky Saints will be the ones facing off for the title of No Mercy, being that Trick and A is about to come to an end, because somebody forgot to warn Trick what happens when you slap a loud and proud Boricua from the Bronx. I'm not sure why you would think that there would be no consequences to that, sir. I'm sorry, but you kind of earned that one. You struck first. You drew first blood first. That's it. Whatever happens after that. But that was actually a really cool moment to see all the chaos, transpire around Oba and Ricky Saint with, the final face-off picture to close the show. All in all, it was a great event. A lot more things did happen, but I know we want to keep this at a quick condensed recap. Other things, let me see. I'm trying to think else as well. Yeah, no, let's leave it there. I mean, of course, you have Joe Hendry appearing everywhere.
Yeah, Joe Hendry.
Which I really enjoyed thoroughly, because this is something that I have fantasy booked. If you watched the Kayfabe podcast a few episodes a while back, when we had said which superstar would be best to be president, I did choose Joe Hendry, and his executive order was to appear everywhere once you said his name. And that is exactly what happened. So, Sean, I got a bone to pick with you. But that's all we have pretty much for the NXT recap. And they defeated Dark State, and that was great as well. But just making us believers all over again.
Oh my gosh, Dylan, sad to see the Grace sisters fighting. That's hilarious. But as far as this is gonna be a terrible transition. No fighting here, but I definitely want to thank the people just recently who've made some donations to the Women's Wrestling Archive. So just in case you don't know what that is, you can check it out.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches January 1st, 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might say he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today. And this will go right into, these type of things, why the Women's Wrestling Archive is going to exist. So the legendary 5-time Knockouts world champion Mickie James will be inducted to the TNA Hall of Fame along with the beautiful people. They announced it over the last couple of days. It's going to be happening on TNA Bound for Glory October 12th, which is like crazy. With that being said, if for Mickie, I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think she is a WWE Hall of Famer, right?
No,
she's not.
No.
So with that being said, that, she's done great work for both companies. Do you think, and not taking away the fact that she's, going to be a TNA Hall of Famer, do you think that she's also going to be a WWE Hall of Famer eventually as well? Since Stephanie McMahon was announced over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. I don't see why not. She's contributed heavily to the professional wrestling business as a whole, and sports entertainment as well. And she definitely made an impact on a lot of the women in the business as well. She's had a different kind of journey. She also journeyed into music, and she's also married to Nick Aldis. I mean, of course, there has to still be some kind of link there, or some kind of degrees of separation in regards to how this could potentially happen. I don't see why they wouldn't make her a Hall of Famer, but yeah, I believe she should be.
Anything to add?
She should. I don't see why not. She can be, because I know her rivalry was with Trish and then it was with Beth, and even with WWE, she was kind of part of that era where it was considered bathroom breaks for women's matches. So she was kind of part of that, which really was hard to do. But also they did make history. Like, her and Melena were part of one of the first Falls Count Anywhere matches that actually happened on Raw, an episode of Raw. So she was in history. And also on TNA, she sang her own theme song on TNA. So you can't deny her for that. Like, singing your own theme song.
And if you're talking about like impact and everything like that, I mean, WWE 5-time Women's Championship, Divas Championship as well. She also won the Total Knockouts World Championship 5 times. She's going into the Hall of Fame. She also had Match of the Year. at one point as well in 2021. So it's just like that her resume speaks for itself. There's no reason why this woman shouldn't be in any Hall of Fame in wrestling.
Yeah. And super, super nice. I'm going to give you a Mickey James story. So we were interviewing her for, I forgot what it's called. It wasn't called Evolution, but it was, oh my gosh, was it NWA in St. Louis? And we were interviewing her, and she bullied me in a good way to go. So I made the trek to St. Louis, and it was for a women's event, and it was amazing. She gave us access to a lot of the women's wrestlers there, including Awesome Khan and Jazz and etc. And you know, this is kind of one of those things that, for somebody who's been in the game for so long, she doesn't have to be so nice. You know what I'm saying? And time and time again across the board, as far as women's wrestlers, I mean, the men are great too. It's just, she was just super dope. So well deserved. Also her stint on the first season of LFG was really, really good. And you know how both, so you're right, in Power. It's crazy if you look back at that. I think that was the first time, and everybody who's on that card and where they are now is just like Chelsea Green was on that card, and we see where she is now. It's kind of really great to see her. So definitely congratulations. And that would move on to, and you know, this is, you know, about time. The beautiful people, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, are going to be inducted to 2025 TNA Hall of Fame as well. Congratulations to them. I believe it was announced on the podcast, right?
Yeah, it was announced. It was like a surprise. They did Bust It Open, and TNA president Carlos Silva was on there, and he surprised Angelina. And I'm not sure if Velvet was on there, but Angelina was on there.
So definitely congratulations to them. Do you have any like moments or anything that, okay, Beulah wants to be on the show too. Any moments that you, as far as the beautiful people are concerned, that, you know, I mean, obviously well deserved. They've been in the game for a long time.
I can kind of jump in because I actually watched their run on TNA in the early years when actually they first started out as the beautiful people, and they kind of really, trust me, it was like them two, it was Gail, it was Awesome Kong. They were all coming out of that division. But also, even though Velvet did a lot, Angelina was kind of the breakout because she was a former Knockouts champion. She did do a lot of work. And also the interesting storyline between her and Gail was very underrated in a way, because we did dive into on how they met and everything else. But even though you cannot underestimate their looks, because that is when they can be very dangerous. And also with the fact too, going up against some very hard-hitting women in that women's division, where at that time they kind of did a took a shot at some of the Divas rosters, saying like, we're not Barbie dolls or anything, and we're taking a fight into it. So it was very interesting, but definitely well deserved by the both of them, and also really made an impact on TNA.
Anything to add, honey?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to switch back to my screen. It was just so like, no, that's it. Look, we're gonna stay on TNA, not necessarily you know, good news. Their TNA Wrestling begins an internal investigation into Masha Slamovich after abusive allegations. So you know, we saw the tweets from what is his name? Sorry. Her ex's friend, her boyfriend, her ex's friend, and then Masha just put a tweet out, I think within the last 20 minutes. It's just so, you know, first off, relationship wise, definitely sad that both parties had to experience it, because Masha did talk about, you know, both parties, you know, hurting each other and how she's seeked support and help, etc. I don't know. It just kind of the fact that I think I posted it yesterday in the group chat. I think she was the top woman in the PWI's 500.
Yeah, her name was there.
Yeah, I believe she was the top woman. It's just kind of one of those things, like, again, social media is definitely one of those things that you're right to freedom of speech, as we've seen, and I'm not going to go political with it, but in scenarios like this, if you are being hurt or abused, and a lot of these articles, kudos to them, they are including those 1-800 numbers. There is laws to protect you. And, you know, going through social media, to me, could be an addition to versus that doing just that. As far as I heard, I don't know if either one of them has, you know, there's like restraining orders, any of that stuff, but doing that, I think, you know, has to be taken into account. Any thoughts?
Listen, man, it's whether mental, physical, domestic, whatever you want to call it, violence is violence, man. And you know, there's no reason to put hands on somebody, you know, no matter how, you know. I understand that there are things in this world that could be very triggering. You know, there are people out there that will push you, you know, but it's more, there's more grace in giving yourself that restraint to hold yourself back from actually acting out on those things, man. You know, there's ways of going about it. There's meditation, you know, there's mental health, BetterHelp, you know, websites and things like that. You know, there's so many different outlets. And, you know, social media is something that I've learned, especially at a younger stage, to not use it for personal, because people, there are very scary things on the internet, and scary people on the internet that will take those things and use them against you, or make you or you know, make you feel like they know you, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't know them, and they do some really shady things. And, you know, there's just really bad energy out there, and you have to learn how to protect yourself from that. You know what I mean? But it can't have been easy for either party. I don't know. There's no right and wrong in this situation. At the end of the day, there's always a better way. You know, you just have to be, you know, it's about the emotional maturity of the people that are involved, that are going to help it either get better or get worse.
Yeah. Courtney?
It's interesting when the news broke out yesterday, and all of this is happening right before she's competing at Victory Road on supposedly Friday. It's very hard to watch these things, and that's one of the lessons I had to learn while working in PR, is making sure not to post a lot of dirty laundry on social, because stuff like this, especially if it's very serious with domestic violence, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or a child, this is a very serious issue that needs to be taken very seriously along on the legal terms, and something that should not be put out. And we have seen this happen in the space before in many cases in the past. And I don't like to see anybody in a situation like this. And this is something that they're going to have to work out in closed doors. And also with the fact too, this actually does raise a lot of issues, because mostly we see women get abused, but also it does bring a conversation that men do suffer from domestic violence. And that is something that does need to be addressed a lot, especially with the stuff that's happening, because not the physical part, but also the mental part, also finding support. And also, in addition, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So it's also very super important to just be aware, because we don't know who it is. And Boza said it right there too. She was supposed to be at Athena's event in October, and she can't do that. So I think for these serious cases alone, this is something that really needs to be addressed closed doors. Obviously, we know there's an independent legal that are going to be investigating this. And also TNA is looking to this very seriously, along with WWE. So hopefully it does be taken care of properly on these serious cases like this.
Yeah. And then, you know, God willing that, you know, whatever was right, whatever was wrong, whatever they consider being, now that it's a legal matter, and, you know, when it's in their hands, you let go and let God in this case. But, you know, just hope for the best in this situation, to try to do better and take accountability to make sure.
Yeah.
Shut my mic off.
Oh yeah, it's and I definitely encourage people. You know, I've been seeing some of the comments, and it's one of those things that you weren't there. You could see the pictures, you can read, you know, the text messages, all this, but you weren't there in that situation. So attacking Masha or attacking anybody else is not the way to help solve it. You know, you're asking for, you know, a pound of flesh when you don't know the whole story, and you probably will never know the whole story because like you don't know them.
Right.
So I definitely, you know, ask people to operate in grace. And yes, social media is a tool to give your opinion on things, etc. However, you know, everybody's human, period. So if you feel like the comments you're hurling at somebody, regardless if you think they're right or wrong, is something that you want your mom to experience or family members to receive those comments, and you're okay with that, then, you know, okay. But I highly doubt you want any of your loved ones to experience the comments that you're hurling at people, regardless if you feel that they're right or wrong, because you just really don't know. Speaking of tweets, we'll stay on TNA, or formerly TNA. We'll get to Gail Kim and her tweets.
Dear God.
Yeah, it's
I didn't even see the full scale of this. I just saw that her face was everywhere. I don't even know what it was in regards to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Courtney, you want to kind of start in the beginning, because it's like I started going down the rabbit hole. I'm like, these are a lot of tweets.
There, you know,
a lot going on here.
There's a lot that's happening because unfortunately people made the assumption that she was like, I don't want to say criticized, but kind of gave constructive feedback to Rio because she watched her match over the weekend against Mercedes Moné and kind of saw her being tiny and some of the outfits that she was wearing over the weekend, and she didn't look very older. So that kind of blew up a little bit. And I think people kind of took that out of proportion. And then Kenny Omega tweeted in, and I'm like, Kenny, what are you doing? Because I was like, are people trying to take shots at Rio or anything else? And it was just pretty much a complete, utter, messy disaster that happened, because people thought originally she was attacking Rio, but it was just like so bombarded, so bizarre. And I'm just like, yeah, I think a lot of times you should not use social media to have those conversations, especially ridiculous tweets out like that, because it can really go haywire. And of course, we've seen some dirt sheets trying to make something out of nothing just for clicks and everything else, where it really kind of bites them. It really kind of bites them in the ass when they find out it's not really true. And then it's like they have to backpedal.
Yeah, I mean, and then they were bringing like old stuff, and I don't know. It just it's just interesting. Again, kind of going back to what I said, like, just, you know, we don't, because you don't agree with what she's saying. Okay, you might say something, but to double down. And then I guess shout out to, like, I don't have the mental fortitude to go back and forth with people. But shout out to Gail, because she was trying to answer and all this other stuff. I would have already, like, you know what? I would
have dropped my phone. I'll just put your phone away.
And
that's what everybody under the comments was saying in the first place. They were like, someone take this woman's phone, please. She doesn't have to go this hard. Like, it doesn't call for that. It doesn't call for that.
And the fact is, it was her husband's birthday today. And I follow him on social.
Celebrate your man. What are you doing? What are we doing out here?
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see how, like, you know, the intent of the comment was something, and then it just got twisted, and then you just kind of want to defend yourself. But, you know, with the amount of followers she has and all the things, it's just kind of like,
she was like Jon Snow about to waiting for the white horse. And someone had to Uncle Benjamin and scoop her up and take her ass out of there because she was about to get demolished.
Yeah.
So you know, we can't all be Jon Snow. Another day.
What up, special nobodies? So, anyways, much love to Gail. Another friend of the show. You know, this is where I was kind of going back to everything. She was, I think, the second person on our show. when we first started.
Oh, wow.
When we had no, no reference point or anything like that. She graciously came on the show and she did a great. Can you stop it, Beulah? She had a great interview. So shout out to her, and she's always definitely showed love too. But yeah, Gail, yeah, just I don't know. You can take it for what it's worth, but responding back it just takes up more of your time than what other things you could be doing. Speaking of other things, Kenan Thompson is announcing a biopic for Macho Man, which is kind of funny because when I saw this, I was like, damn, like I feel like this should have been a project already, and it might have been previously. I just didn't know why. I don't just know why it's taken so long. So what do you guys think of this? And do you think it's going to be different from, the projects that are produced by like A&E and WWE?
Sorry, I'm typing the ticker. What did you say? Oh, well, I just think this is cool, man. I mean, I don't even know. This isn't, I mean, this is like first time producing a biopic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, now that's freaking awesome. Because when it's your first, that's your baby. You don't want to, you don't want to mess that up. And I think it's a great story to cover because it's such a legendary figure in popular culture and in wrestling, period. He's definitely something worth making a movie about for sure. And I'm sure that would be a movie we're all definitely going to go see. But I think this is really, really cool. I definitely think this would be on the lines of like, if they want, they could, if he wants to take it there, he could try to go the route, the way Iron Claw went, you know what I mean, with their story. Because their story, I still didn't get to see the movie in full, but I see clips online every now and then of it. And I'm just like, damn it, why still?
I got to watch it on the plane. It was really good.
It was a good movie.
I know. And I know it's a good story. And I know it's a good story because it's such a sad story. And it's, it's like a tale that we all know about, but it's just, but this is going to be pretty awesome. So, I mean, even if Kenan goes that route, that wouldn't be a bad idea, but, A&E, do they still have that? They still do. Well, yeah, they have LFG and all the shows there with WWE. I don't see why not, but I feel like it could go bigger than that. It's Kenan Thompson.
I wonder how, because, I'm pretty sure this is not the first foray to somebody wanting to do this. So I wonder like who they had to turn down like the rights to, because you have to get the rights in order to do a biopic. So I wonder like who else tried to apply, and what made Kenan like all right, we think that you can do Macho Man's legacy justice. Like I wonder again, more of the behind the scenes stuff that I'm curious about. But I am definitely interested in seeing how this is going to play out and how it's going to look.
Well, most likely it could be on. Well, most likely it'll definitely be on Peacock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
considering Saturday Night Live, and
his ties with SNL
and the ties there, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Just make it a Peacock special biopic documentary movie.
Yeah.
I wonder who they're gonna get to play him.
That
part right there.
Who's gonna play Macho Man?
Who's gonna play Macho Man? Who's gonna play Miss Elizabeth? That is the question.
Are they gonna do the full? Because sometimes in biopics they do certain portions of life.
Yeah.
Are they gonna do the full from beginning to end? Are they gonna do just his wrestling career to the end? Are they gonna do just the wrestling career? Like, are they going to do the evolution to when he became a superstar and then end it? There's so many different.
It would have to start with his like childhood, maybe. No,
it depends. Some biopics they skip. They kind of do like a blip on the childhood, and then it's literally. It really just depends on. It depends on the person and how they want to tell the story. Because I feel like if you have, I kind of almost refer to it like those Wikipedia biopics. Where you have the start to the end, and like if you're not familiar with the story, it's good, but also our attention span as watchers, it might not be the greatest unless you do kind of jumping around of some sort. So there's just so many different ways. I love a good bio, so that's why I'm like really curious as far as how they're gonna play it. because it's really, you can do so many different ways, but it has to be, you have to tap into the mainstream media for this. So we'll see. Speaking of films, the Swedish Oose's favorite, one of her favorite people, Killer Cross's film Blue Evening announces new film festival selections and nominations. You want to talk about this, honey?
I mean, that's pretty damn dope, if you ask me. It's an independent film and executive produced by Sir Killer Cross. Ooh, hashtag we still want Cross, Triple H. Don't think we forgot. I didn't forget. A lot of people in the IWC saying we forgot, but we didn't. Yeah, and he's been not, as you said, nominated for a few film festivals. It's going to be he's going to be attending the film screening, the next screening that will be happening at Burbank International Film Festival, which is pretty much tomorrow. And it's been pretty much accepted in a film fest in Texas, one in Oklahoma, UK as well. So, and also nominated for 5 awards: Best Worldwide Short Film, Best Director, Best Cinematographer, Best Actor, and Best Supporting Actor. So shout outs to Cross, man.
Yay!
You better get it, Kevin Robert Kassar. You better get it.
It's always nice to see, not always nice. It's kind of one of those things, and definitely not saying he did this, but you know, when they have like those reality shows or whatever, and somebody gets voted off the island and they say, this is not the last time you see me, and it really is the last time you see them. It's really nice when you, like, you know, if it doesn't work out in one of your dreams, you do something else. And of course, you could be doing something else and we don't know, because, you know, it's life. But to just see, like, it didn't stop him from whatever this other passion that he has, is great to see. So congratulations to him on that. Courtney, you have anything to add?
Just super congratulations to him to keep doing his thing. Also, shout out to Wrestle Pro too, because he was there over the weekend. So if you were in the Jersey area, him and Scarlett were there over the weekend. So he is still out there doing what he loves to do. And yes, people are chanting.
We made quite a new alliance.
Yes.
So
yes, he did.
So I really enjoyed seeing that. You know, Brace somewhere smiling.
Yeah,
on that one.
Speaking of the weekend, for some of you guys who know or don't know, I had the opportunity to go to Barbados this past weekend. We had a show with All Caribbean Wrestling. It was a sold out show. 500 plus people showed up. Great matches. It was really great to see. Pope Elijah Burke was there. Tiffany Nueves was there. Kayla Capri was there. So many great things. So definitely shout out to the people of Barbados. They definitely were starving for wrestling. I believe there hadn't been a show there for the last 20 years. So definitely shout out to ACW for that as well. They had a great show. With that, let's talk about Jasmine Nix, no longer with WWE. Now, I read this article, and I mean, I think how she exited was featured on NXT, which just passed, but how it reads seems like a setup. So, but again, I haven't had I've been traveling, so I haven't had a chance to watch it. So kind of take us through it, and then ladies, let me know if this is, because I know she posted something. She posted a video too.
Yeah,
but so did R-Truth, and he was back. So give me your thoughts.
Oof. When I first read the story, it just seemed a little interesting, because I was like, she was just on NXT, and this is coming out today. And it was very interesting with the deal and everything else and contracts, because people don't know what happens in contracts, because contracts, they can be very flimsy. And of course, the end result is the money part, is the money part right there. I had to kind of take a step back and put my PR cap on a little bit, because I wanted to dive in a little bit of the story and just check in to see, okay, is this really true? Is it not true? Or is this like a gotcha moment? But Jasmine did post something on socials today, and it does raise a lot more questions than answers, because of course she said, I'm not going to do WWE. I've been around for the last couple years, but I feel like there is a lot more to this story than we don't know. But I do wish her the best in her endeavors if her time with WWE NXT is officially up, or wrestling, or just wrestling overall. Because she did say that she was an athlete before she came into WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, Boss is saying what I was thinking. It reads and it does feel like a setup, but again, and 3 days before No Mercy. What do you think, honey?
So there's so you're saying everybody thinks it's a work with the
Not everybody, but
not everybody, but there's people out there that think that this is a potential work.
Yeah, well, yes, because it seems like, the timing of it, the fact that she was on NXT just, a day ago, and how it played out. Like, because, sometimes when a person leaves the company, like, you just don't see them. They're not in a story or whatever, but how it played out, she was laid out on the floor and they're like, we didn't need her anyway. It's like, but then did you know that she was going? Like, how does, and it could be a setup where it's like, okay, we both agree that we're going to separate ways, but let's write you out of the story and etc. It could be that, or it could be, it's set up for a different direction and now she's going to come back as a singles. Like, to me, that was the thing I first thought. I don't know, it just in a good way. Like, okay, there's a fresh, different storyline, but it also might be like contracts just didn't work out, and we're just do us this solid, and this is how we're gonna write you off.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it would benefit in her, like, lying about, or well, not lying about, but pretty much making a whole video in regards to it.
To throw us off the scent.
Well, I get that. I totally understand that. But at the same time, we've seen what happened to Ricochet. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen suddenly either somebody gets attacked or somebody gets brutally squashed or somebody gets, beaten up or dumped backstage, and we don't know who did, I mean, the way that Fatal Influence was pretty much very easy to dismiss. I kind of thought that was like, oh, okay, like maybe we're moving to a different direction in regards to the aesthetic of the group itself. But the contract things, I'm not sure why she would. I'm not sure if that's something that that I would make up if I'm Jasmine Nix. You know what I mean? Like, sit and make a whole video about it. All of a sudden you get jumped. Nobody even knows who did it. In that regard, I get it. It seems fishy, but at the same time, I'm like, what would be the payoff with all of this then?
A check. If you're still on payroll and they're saying, hey, we need you to do this, wouldn't you just do it?
Well, as a one-off, or just
as a long-term. So again, this is all speculation, people. But if it's so, say now WWE's like, this is what we want to do. We want to separate the group and all the things, and this is the mix between reality and storyline. And in order for this to work, we want you to do this video. And you're still getting paid. Your new contract has already been signed. Wouldn't you do it? Because, like, why not?
But it said she turned down the offer, and maybe this, and what maybe as much as this could be speculation, maybe this really is something as quoted below,
right?
A personal decision that she's making for herself and for her future.
Yeah, no, it could be that too, and that's the beautiful thing about wrestling is like for me, where we are right now, I like the fact of not really knowing. Only time will tell how things are going to play out. Maybe it is a personal decision and she goes off to do something else and we don't see her again in WWE.
True.
Or we do see her again and it's a swerve. And it's like, oh, that was a good swerve.
But now, how does that benefit Fatal Influence? What does that do? It benefits Jasmine in a way, but it depends on how they execute this. If this is what you're potentially saying it could be, or like in this regard, like what would that do for JC Jane and Fallon Henley? Because I'm also hearing other things that Fatal Influence is could potentially be welcoming a new member. And it was someone who they did engage with last night, and that was Lainey Reed, who had a successful win against Candice LeRae. And not for nothing, the minute that I saw, the IWC chirping about that, I was like, that wouldn't be a bad look. That's not a bad look. But again, this could either be a serious decision that was made, and they're literally legitimately parting ways, or if you're really looking at this picture, they could push Jasmine Nix if they wanted to. But has she improved enough to get that push? Had she improved it? Has she had enough time in NXT to show? I mean, because we know, as she said in her video, she's had some concussions, some injuries, and her nose was broken and such. You know what I mean? So, like you said, boss lady, only time will tell at this point, and we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled for the next move from Jasmine.
Speaking of eyes peeled, coming up on Friday, TNA Victory Road. Do we have some predictions for that?
I predict that some shenanigans will ensue, especially the fact that TNA completely invaded NXT's territory. Something could go down in that regard for Victory Road. But we do have a few set of matches. We have Leon Slater versus Myron Reed for the TNA X Division Championship.
Nice.
Oh, excuse me. We also have Steve Macklin versus Frankie Kazarian for the TNA International Championship. And we also have Moose and Mustafa Ali as well. And it seems like it's just bragging rights at this point. Nothing on the line. Nothing to win, nothing to lose. The Elegant Brand versus the Inspiration. I really can't. I forced myself to say Inspiration. I forced myself because that's what it says there. But damn it, they're iconic. See, a unified unit tag team. Like, take note, Tony. See, that's what I mean. But TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships on the line as well for those ladies there. And the event is set to happen Friday the 26th. And what is that? Is that the right one? Yeah, Edmonton, Alabama.
Alberta.
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, Alberta. So sorry, I'm tired.
Canada.
That's so funny.
That will all be going to the Edmonton Expo Center in Edmonton,
Alberta. Boss is saying that the Masha match has been removed, so we'll see how it gets. We see how it plays out. The statement that she just made may or may not, affect it. I don't know. I feel like because TNA is kind of under the WWE and TKO umbrella, I feel like we are going to see this match because it takes a lot for WWE to remove people, but they also pick and choose. Sometimes it's something small, and then sometimes it's something big, and they don't make the move. So I think that she is still going to have the match unless there's anything that legally comes about, or if he wants to press charges, or there's something else. Like I don't know. It's kind of, are we talking about the court of public opinion that she can't perform her job? It's I don't know. I think this is more of an HR problem than anything else. And they can make that decision.
It's in the hands of it's in the hands of legal hands.
Yep.
So
That's legal.
At that point, you just got to see what they say.
This is true. Now it looks like, so is this going to happen after SmackDown? Is that where we're as far as time?
I have no idea. It says 9 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah. So SmackDown So it looks like it's gonna happen after SmackDown, which it's because that's when AAA happened. Was it 2 weeks ago? Wasn't
Yeah,
it
it was like at 10. It was like 10 our time.
Yeah. So we most likely will have a post show for this. So definitely keep it locked for that. But is there anything else that you guys want to talk about?
How did you think of WrestlePalooza? Because there was a lot of buzz. Just quick thoughts. What did you think of WrestlePalooza?
Unfortunately, I haven't gone to watch it yet because I just my suitcase is still packed. So it's
2 hours. I'm never getting back.
Yeah, I heard ESPN gave it a not great rating.
Yes, Andre wrote a fantastic article and pretty much summed up everyone's feelings in one.
I was
So why was it not good?
Well, the only thing that really saved it from being average was Stephanie versus Io.
Okay.
Everything else, like I don't know, and I would have to agree because other than that, you know, why did I need to see Brock Lesnar beat John Cena? Like, what's the payoff in that? What is that doing for John's story going forward? Because I thought this was his retirement tour, not his squashing retirement tour.
You made the kids cry in the audience.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, Brock. I'm just about sick of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, besides that,
WrestlePalooza.
WrestlePalooza. That is, put it on a T-shirt. Damn it! I hope they never do something like that again. Like I feel like it was a little too overhyped to be able to say that you're competing on a WrestleMania level, on a SummerSlam level. That was just that could have been done on a Monday Night Raw for me or a Friday Night SmackDown for me. Damn it! Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Courtney?
I had the chance to watch it the next day. This is just from my perspective, from a PR lens. There was a lot of overhype with this event, and it just felt very under. And also with the fact, too, because I was happy Stephanie got the Hall of Fame, but it felt very weird because I was very surprised because I was like, WrestleMania is going to be in Vegas. Like, why couldn't she get the announcement then? Because usually WrestleMania time, they do the Hall of Fame, and it just felt very odd because I'm like, why are they
usually announce it around Rumble time or something?
Yeah.
Going into the beginning of the year. They never really done it that early, but that was shocking. I mean, the WrestlePalooza was basically a tale of two Stephanies. That's all it was. And that's not a bad thing because both of those Stephanies earned their spots to be exactly where they are. Both Stephanie McMahon and Stephanie Vaquer. Everything else is just like, and the whole thing, there's reports coming out about Cody Rhodes apparently and Drew McIntyre. Apparently, Triple H it was the one who changed the results of the match last minute.
Really? I saw that.
It initially was going to be Drew. Now that throws an interesting twist, and he apparently changed Brock Lesnar and John Cena's results as well. Not sure why he would do something like that. I mean, damn it, that entrance, like, come on, man, like John Cena entrance, like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? First of all, in this retirement tour, there would have been no losses for this man for me until the very end. He's Cena, he's John Cena. What are we doing? What I feel like Cardi B, what was the reason? I need to know. Why did we do that?
I also want to say this because honey, you know, I watch football. They were doing this Monday Night Football. They mispronounced John Cena's last name wrong. If you're gonna have people that are gonna understand,
what did they say?
Senna. They said John Cena on a Monday night game, and I'm listening to this. If you're gonna have people at least know about the wrestling product, at least have them know about the names, and also at least some summary of the product.
Who's the commentator that said it?
It was on Monday Night Football. It was, oh God, I forget what game it was on.
It was Collinsworth and them. I would be so upset.
No, it was on Monday night, but I forget what it was.
I'll find out. I'm gonna ask
Oh, you know what? It was during the doubleheader on Monday Night Football. It was during Yeah, it was like one of the first doubleheaders this season.
Man.
And it wasn't Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. It was the other commentators. I was like, you said John Cena? Come on.
Right. And Boza, to answer your question, we did. I don't know if any of the fellas from Kayfabe had John versus AJ for Crown Jewel. I technically think I had either. No, I didn't have either. I had John Cena. I had guessed John Cena versus Logan Paul for Crown Jewel, but I was one off. One too early. One too early for that one. But I don't remember. I'm gonna have to revisit that episode because a lot of John Cena talks and who his opponents are and who the last opponent's gonna be. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know that that AJ announcement definitely needed to happen. Definitely needed to happen
sooner than later.
I'm not sure what you're gonna do from here. What the point of Brock Lesnar was, but okay, here we are. But I'll definitely happily take AJ. It's like I hate when that I can't stand. I'm not gonna say hate. Hate is a strong word. I can't stand that. They do this in certain instances where they tick you off with one event and then they throw you in a little gift like, here, I'm sorry, here, forgive me, here, I got you this though. You know what I mean? That's what it feels. That's what John Cena and AJ Styles feels like. You lucky this is AJ Styles and John Cena. Anybody else, I'm feeling a type of way about what this next match is about. But we know this match is going to be a banger. It's just about how they build it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, speaking of banger, another terrible transition. It's a banger. Time to go to bed for our ladies in the East Coast. Courtney, where can everybody find you?
Well, the people can find me chirping sporadically on Women's Wrestling Talk Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays. It is Timeless Elite Wednesdays. It is Timeless Elite Wednesdays where you get to spend it with me. And pretty much every single one of my camp is healthy. Every single one of my clientele is healthy, ready to go, take charge of business. And you will be getting a lot of it from me every Wednesday because we're on the road to Wrestle Dream. It'll happen next month, so you get to send play-by-play with me. You can also follow me on my socials at CourtneyNJ11 to check out the latest content that I have. Please make sure to follow ISPW because yours truly is back on commentary on Friday. We will be having a show on Friday in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. And also Saturday, it's 90s Wrestling Con. I just can't believe it is finally here. Myself and Honey will be there. We're excited to go back to the 90s and hang out with a lot of stars from the 90s, as well, like Raven, Dawn Marie, Terry Reynolds, Steve Blackman, Val Venus, so many other people that are coming.
Just to name a few.
Yeah, just to name a few, but it's going to be very fun. So make sure to follow ISPW. Please make sure to follow all my socials because I do have a lot of content happening. And yeah, just she's your Timeless Elite's been busy. She's chirping and she's just taking care of business.
Booked and busy, honey. Booked and busy.
All right, sweetest Oos, where can everybody find you?
In a few minutes, nobody could find me because I'm gonna be asleep. But any other time, you guys can find me here Monday, Wednesday, Friday with WWT Live. Also Thursdays, we got the Kayfabe podcast. Check me out with the fellas tomorrow night. Honey Night SmackDown watch along. If no watch along, there is a post show. Sorry for the last couple of weeks. Did have family over last week as well. I did have a very, very fun audience as well. Papa Honey was literally in the house. And we had a great time. But nonetheless, all things Wrestling with Honey on the socials. Guys, I made it to 100 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get me to 200. Follow me, Wrestling with Honey podcast. I'm trying to launch this thing new year 2026 and a lot more coming. WrestlingWithHoney.com. All things Wrestling with Honey. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram,
There it is. I want to thank everybody. Make sure you to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends about Women's Wrestling Talk. Also, thank you everybody who supported the Women's Wrestling Archive. Recently, I'm seeing the numbers. I appreciate it. We definitely want to launch this on January 1st. You can follow me everywhere at TK Trinidad. I have been posting some pictures from Barbados. Like I said, it was a really a great trip. If you followed my stories, some of them wanted me to go in the ocean at 1 o'clock in the morning, which you'll have to follow the stories to see what happened because, Black people don't do that. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us for WWT Live. Just a quick update. So WWT Live on Mondays will be at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday, Fridays will be at 7 Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Is that 10 or 11? 7, 8,
10. Like
10 Eastern. We most likely will have a watch along for TNA this Friday. And I believe there's another pay-per-view. Yeah, the NXT
No
pay-per-view
Mercy.
on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday
Mercy.
we're gonna have a watch along for that as well, and also look out for our WoW watch along and our LFG one that's gonna be coming up tomorrow or Friday. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.